Sapiens, this is Pawan.
This is Srikanth.
Today we are coming up with yet another exciting book conversation. I'm ready to discuss about Animal Farm by George Orwell. What about you?
Even me too.
Let's jump right in. So, a quick brief about this book. Animal Farm by George Orwell is one of the best dystopian novels, and it's a satirical novel about a group of farm animals who rebel against the human farmer, dethrones him in order to create a society where the animals can live freely from human oppression. The pigs, led by Napoleon, become the dominant group and manipulate the other animals through propaganda, fear to maintain their power. Eventually, the pigs become just as oppressive as the humans they overthrow, and the other animals realize that they have merely traded one form of tyranny to the other one. So it's an interesting book, very metaphorical. I think it's a great depiction of a lot of elements prevailed from Russian Revolution in 1917, and it's a commentary on corrupting nature of power and the dangers of totalitarianism. So this is my experience about reading the book. And what about you, Srikanth? Like, when did you read this book?
See, I have read this book long time back actually. It has been some 5 to 6 years ago. But then I can tell you one thing about this book. There are so many books out there which will help you frame your ideology, right? There are so many books out there, but then this particular book will help you to critically think about the ideology that you have right now. So whatever you would have been before, I'm pretty sure after you read this 100-page novel, you will not be the same person.
Yes,
That is
because
what
I
I
think
feel about this book. Hmm.
that's for sure. I think I'm glad you mentioned that. You read with one ideology, whether you name it one ideology or whatever it is, but you kind of, uh, perceive anything with one set of ideologies, and then when you come out with something respecting there is some other ideology. There's always a truth opposite to another truth as well.
Hmm.
I think I also walk out the same way. There are a lot of ideologies, and this book is really cleverly written by Orwell. That okay, there's one perspective from pig's perspective, from horse perspective, from the reader's perspective.
Hmm.
So developing that sort of, I think I kind of became a bit liberal in that aspect. What you said makes
Yeah.
sense.
It was also based on 1917 Russian Revolution. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like he has based this book on 1917 Russian Revolution, right?
Yes,
Yeah. So that is there a lot in the book, in the commentary that he has written.
that's true. That's true. I think, I mean, if you can go a little deep into the book, I can look at a lot of characters where we can talk going forward. But for me, the highlight was the one, who kind of invigorated certain sense of belief, kind of passed a belief system into the animals. The first person, not person, I think, we call major. I think what animal was that? Was it pig?
Yeah, it was a pig. Old Major
Yeah,
he's called.
old major is,
He
yeah.
gives them the song. He's the
Yes,
first person
the
who
song.
remembers that song, and he passes that song down to the other animals like an anthem sort of. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's like the most important for me. I think that's the most important part of the chapter, because otherwise, none of the animals, has this capacity to think. Oh, we can rebel or stand for our own rights. Through it,
Hmm.
Orwell like displays his great understanding of political rhetoric and how it can be used to move crowds in which direction the speaker wishes. I think addressing his audience and by comrades. I think. There's also an anthem, like you said, that will be
Hmm.
remembered for the generations to come before he dies. So I think that was the major highlight for me. And then the events happens. I think that's like a lot of events will happen later, which I don't think anyone ever, even myself including, while reading the book, thought so.
Hmm.
So, like, going to the characters a little deep there, Srikanth, like, what characters do you think, like, like Napoleon and the pigs, usually the head of the pigs, like, who are the major in forefront to gain the power? The Snowball and the Napoleon. So, how do
Snowball
you see other
and
characters?
Napoleon.
Like,
Yeah.
which character, Snowball, Napoleon? So, which character? I mean, for me, if you ask me, I can start off with Squealer, who is also the spokesperson of one of those pigs. I can start with that character. I think Squealer, as his name suggests, becomes the mouthpiece of the pigs. Constant habit of skipping from side to side while arguing some difficult points, dramatizes, in physical way, like almost smooth talking to all the other animals in a rhetoric sense. Every time he kind of faced this question, he somehow gives a convoluted logic to prove his point, not exactly making what the question is all about. Like, you can draw this parallel with the contemporary politicians as well. No one gives you the right answer when you ask the question. So in short, like, he eventually serves as like Napoleon's, you know propaganda machine or whatever.
Propaganda
So
machine, and he spreads
yeah,
a lot
he's
of misinformation.
spreads a lot of misinformation as well. So like that, do you think any characters you wanted to like bring in, like, which character kind of, it's your observation about the characters?
Yeah, I was interested by two characters. One is Boxer the horse,
Yes.
and the second one, the dogs that are there. Jesse, Bluebell, and Pincher. Uh,
Hmm.
the There is not much to be said about the dogs other than they were taken at a very young age, and they were never to be seen. But then one fine day they come and kill Snowball. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that appeals to one part, of the present day society. This indoctrination at a very young age, can lead to a lot of problems in the society, because the dogs, there is not even a perspective given about the dogs. There is a perspective of each and every character in the book, but then the perspective of dogs is plain simple: being aggressive, right, and doing the job for their masters. So that's how plain simple he has kept it. So it is sort of, giving a message to the society. uh, I don't think he would have given a message to the society, but we can actually learn from the story that if we are able to separate the indoctrination of children at a very young age, and make sure that they grow in a better space, without one person taking entire control of the children, then actually we can make a better society out of it. And also the other thing, about Boxer, the horse, that felt to me like, mostly, he blindly follows Napoleon, isn't it, Pavan?
Yeah,
He
I'm glad you
hmm,
kind of brought Boxer into this discussion, because I think it's one of my favorite characters. I don't know why I'm saying it's a
hmm,
favorite, but he has got a great strength. He's somehow matched by his equal in
hmm,
equally stunning innocence, naivety. He's not intelligent as such like other animals like pig. Not conniving like pigs, but he's very much hardworking. With a lot of conviction, with
hardworking.
building. Being the prominent key member of building the windmill. Believing that Napoleon is always right, like you rightly mentioned, reveals his childlike dependence on all-knowing leader. So yeah, ignorance can drive a man crazy. In this case, animal crazy here.
Yeah, I think he lets us learn one more important thing, that it is always the true believers that are exploited a lot, right? Like, you believe in some ideology, you don't even want to think the other way, you don't even want to listen to the other perspective. You are so immersed very deep into your own perspectives. But at the end of the day, what happens when Boxer dies, right? Napoleon simply sells him so that he can get a whiskey, like party with his friends. So this exploitation of the believers, it has been very well written. The character arc also has been very well written, according to me.
Perfect, perfect. I think you have really mentioned it really well because the whole point of rebelling against a human tyrants
Hmm.
started off with the human being recklessly leaving animals, not feeding them, drinking all the day. And I remember one more thing, during that amendments when they make initially along with Snowball, it
Hmm.
says drinking is wrong, and then once they
Yeah.
start drinking, they kind of manipulate or
Cut.
change the tonality there. Okay,
Yeah.
you can drink but not excess. So to serve their own personal vested interests in the activities they've been doing.
Yeah, all seven rules become one rule. The first rule only stays, but then at the end, it also changes. Like all animals are equal becomes all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than the
More equal than.
others.
So that's interesting because when if you can see what happens after Napoleon's takeover and Snowball's exit, or I wouldn't call it exit, but severely outcasted him with the dogs
Hmm.
we mentioned initially, right? The successful harvest seems to signal the overall triumph of the rebellion, but overall, I think it hints in numerous way that the very ideas that the rebels used as their rallying cry, or like being betrayed by the pigs, the fact that they do not do any physical work but instead stand behind the horses shouting commands, there you can touch suggest their
Hmm.
new positions as masters. They themselves comfortably establish themselves as masters, and kind of like, if you remember, they also drink milk, extra milk, and
Hmm.
extra apples, if you remember that.
And they
Okay,
justify it.
to justify that,
Hmm.
okay, we are doing it for the sake of the farm, so there is no selfish interest there, but we are doing it overall for the benefit of the community, is something. Oh my
Yeah.
god, it
Actually, I'm glad that you brought that point. I feel there is a lack of, accountability and transparency on the part of the pigs, right?
yeah,
Isn't it? Can we draw some parallels?
I think so.
Uh,
I definitely think so because yeah, it's one of the themes and the messages one can take away from after reading this book. I think importance of transparency and accountability in any generation is very important. The need for transparent accountability is evident in many recent events, such as, if I can take, not going too in depth into the topic,
hmm.
but maybe 2016 U.S. presidential election and the subsequent investigation allegations into that Russian interference took over, and additionally recent scandals involving high-profile individuals and corporates, and like Panama Papers, if you remember, exposed the offshore financial dealings and some wealthiest individuals, like companies, and other scandals have underscored. So I think for all these things, even if you look at the contemporary situation, also one needs organizations or the government needs to be very transparent in conveying the message. To the public. I wanted to give one more
Hmm.
example, but I think it will go off the topic and can be a little controversial, so I'm not gonna go there. uh, but yeah, I agree with what you said. I think that's one of the most important themes that you can probably establish here. And
Hmm.
what about
Yeah, it's actually nice that you are talking about how governments can be, accountable. But then I think George Orwell has given the perspective of the people as well. There are always chickens in the farm, right? They are very easy to convince. They don't even want to learn, right? There is a cat also in the animal farm. They don't want to learn. They have already closed their mind to the knowledge and information, isn't it? Like, even certain actually, what he tries to say is that majority of people are like chickens, sort of, where they have very close mindedness. They don't really want to absorb a lot of information. What they can you know take in is, say, stand in the middle of a debate and shout slogans like four legs good and two legs bad, right? Interrupting the conversations that are already happening. So this mob mentality sort of thing,
I
right?
think it's a dangerous precedence, if you ask me. For
Hmm.
it's a dangerous precedence to for any liberal society, because uh, again, it's a different topic. Like, we can probably bring in some liberal aspect here. How they are like tearing all this the fabric of uh, the liberal thought process here. No no respect for the dissent, completely like taking
Hmm.
it over. So I think these all are inter connected, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you actually kind of said it, but I thought to hold it back, but I'll probably say it because it brings me some
Yeah.
bad
Go
memories
ahead.
for the world. So that is the reason I'm not. I was thinking to whether to bring it or not. Example 9/11.
Hmm.
Post 9/11, not giving too context about what had happened because everybody
Hmm.
knew what we happened. That
Hmm.
tragic incident happened 9/11. So after that, um, Osama bin Laden, during his interview, said, someone asked me this question like, okay, if you have a problem with the government, when you want to show your message, send a message to the
Hmm.
government, why do you have to kill the innocent people? It's a right question. You know what he said?
Yeah.
It, what he said kind of blow my mind in a different way. I'll tell. What he said is, they're all the taxpayers, right? Every American
Okay.
citizen or anyone who is a taxpayer. So all the
Hmm.
taxpayers tax or give the amount, give the money, and government collect the taxes, and they fucking know what they are doing with the money, how they are trying to like, put what do you call those putting troops in different countries, like taking world
Hmm.
wars and stuff like that. Whether are they doing the right to the world or the wrong to the world, the taxpayers have no idea. Like how you mentioned about the chicken example, and then with killing a lot of innocent people. I'm not saying that's the only way, but I'm telling his way of thinking. Like since that moment, every American citizen, mostly all the taxpayers, are widely interested in what the American policies are, especially foreign policies, because they are the ones who kind of
Hmm.
got into the situation. So that changed everything. So I think, I mean,
Hmm.
since we are the taxpayers, if we have this,
Hmm.
if we prefer to know, we need to know what you've been doing with the, if you're not voicing your opinion about what's going on with the rest of the world affairs, then the
Hmm.
repercussions will be sometimes very bad, sometimes very
Yeah.
tragic, right? It
That
can be
is.
traumatic as well.
It
Uh,
becomes. It becomes easier for the politicians to manipulate you easily. Like they in the starting they are like four legs good, two legs bad, but then it can simply turn into four legs good, two legs better.
very very quickly,
Right?
right?
Yeah.
Either,
That's what Orwell is trying to tell.
see,
Hmm.
my observation here is either people are ignorant, genuinely ignorant,
Hmm.
legitly ignorant, or they are acting ignorant. Either two ways, right? So
Hmm.
we have to find a
Hmm.
common ground here. So, well, I'm not the one here to like preach how one should think about it, but trying to draw some parallels from the book he had written in 1946. So that's one thing
Yeah.
I talk about. And what else
And
you want? You
yeah, I think you know what, most of the humble and very well respected politicians also fall into this trap of propaganda and the themes that were brought up in the novel time and again. If you can
Yep,
see, during the US elections, recent US elections, it was conducted in 2020, right? 21.
2020, yeah,
When was it? Yeah, okay.
2021,
So
sorry, 2021, yeah.
yeah, like I could see the hatred towards Trump from the other wing, and also similarly the hatred towards Biden from the equal sides of the spectrum, right? I could see a person, a very well respected person like Barack Obama, saying things like, if you have to vote him out of power, or else it will be a real difficult time for America and everything. See, I can understand where that comment is coming from, but then I feel it's an exaggeration. What has been written time and again in this novel, right? It's always an exaggeration from the point of view of the politicians, right? They try to manipulate you, and even very well respected politicians like Obama fall into the trap where they say that if you don't vote for this guy, something drastic might happen, we will have a dystopia sort of, almost going there, not
A
saying the
panicness.
exact words. So that is not actually a good thing for the society, but then time and again we see politicians making, even very generous politicians making such remarks.
Hmm. Yeah.
And also the same thing, like as an extension to it, there is a lot of manipulation from their part as well, isn't it? Like most of the times they do the same things, healthcare for all, or else
Death tax,
healthcare system.
the names are similar, but the propaganda is different from both the wings. Yeah.
Propaganda is different, like how even Snowball wanted to build a windmill, Napoleon builds a windmill eventually. They both want the same, they want to reach the same target, but then they take different paths and they start spitting venom over each other, and they go so distant apart that one person has to kill the other person,
Yes.
which is kind of saddening. This
Yeah.
manipulation sort of manifests into a
Dangerous consequences.
huge,
Yeah.
yeah. It gives a dangerous precedence. Yeah. So,
Well, from yeah.
and
Go ahead.
hmm,
Go
yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, you were saying something.
No, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Complete your line.
Yeah. One last point. uh, you know all till now, we have talked a lot of things. One thing that strikes me a lot, uh, very deep to my heart, is that there is this character in the novel called Clover, right?
Clover.
The female
The
horse.
horse. Yeah.
It's really difficult for a person like resembling her to stay connected to the society in the present, polarized and politically charged atmosphere. She actually has respect for the human beings. She actually likes the
Mm.
right, isn't it? She likes the farmer,
Yep.
but then just
Peacefully
because
coexisting.
she's from yeah, she's from a different community, like she's from the animal community, so people look down upon her just because she respects the other community, the human community. In the present world, I feel a person like Clover will not fit into it. That is what hurts me a lot. A lot has changed from 1947 to 2023. I think this has taken the saddest turn, I feel.
Hmm. Yeah. Speak of Clover. It reminds me one particular act. I think
Hmm.
with that act we can probably close the book. Like
Hmm.
that's how the ending comes in. As you mentioned some time back, the amendment initially was all animals are equal. And then it quickly turns into
Hmm.
all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others.
More.
In that final act, this policy after this policy change happens, in the animal farm, it again the animal farm becomes a manor farm, and then soon after that, I remember Napoleon, with his one of his dealers, is also human. I don't remember the exact name, but when they were playing the cards, kind of
Hmm.
brawling against each other while playing, with loud quarrel eruption, and somewhere Clover and some other animals kind of sit and see, are they pigs or humans? So they unable to
Yes.
discriminate it. So I think,
Distinguish.
yeah, that's a tight
Hmm.
slap. That's a tight slap on. Yeah, I don't know on whom, but but that kind of hit me really really hard. Are you a human or a pig? What's the difference?
Hmm. That's a tight slap on the entire ideology, sort of,
Yes.
right? Because you start with a very good ideal, but then you fall back into this vicious loop,
Power
because
hungry.
practicality is always extremely different from the ideology that you have in your mind. What you see with your eyes is extremely different from what you have in your mind. So that is a problem. And actually, you know what, we'll conclude it by saying that
Yeah.
we should read more such books. We should have more conversations on such books, because they give you a perspective. These dystopian novels, combined with a perspective on history, will actually help you predict a future where there might be a second revolution, which might make a lot of people suffer in the world. So I think it's very important to have knowledge on this book and to read this book. That's from my
Well,
side.
I think that's how you can sum it up, the conversation. I really appreciate that you're doing it. Yeah, I think I cannot agree. I mean, I think well said. I think I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation for sure. I hope you also did.
Yes.
If you guys have also liked this conversation, please feel free to share your opinions in the comment box, and also let us know what kind of topics or books you are interested in to talk. Yes, until next time, stay safe, and please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.
Hello, sapiens. This is Shrikant.
And this is Pawan.
Welcome to our channel, Fire and Ice Exploring the Cosmos.
Together, we're going to discuss plethora of topics exclusively in this channel, such as books, science, movies, geopolitics, and ideologies.
Please subscribe to our channel for flaming fire to warm up your spirit and showering ice to open up your mind. Watch out for the space. Thank you.